In this video, I'll talk about the real story behind FIRE, and we're starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to another video from the Keystone Financial Academy. My name is Elliot, and if you're new to this channel, I invite you to join the community by subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. So if you haven't heard of it before, FIRE is an acronym that stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. It's a movement that was proposed and popularized by a series of financial books. One was from the 1990s and others were a lot more recent. And they all essentially advocated pairing high income with extreme savings to put away enough cash to retire early, typically in your 30s or 40s. While the core ideas of FIRE are not new, the movement gained a lot of fans and supporters in the last decade or so, with plenty of online bloggers and evangelists basically talking about how everyone should be doing this and why they should be doing this. The FIRE movement stresses saving as much as 75% of your income stream, while also investing in relatively safe stock market instruments such as index funds. Now make no mistake, saving up to 75% of your income is quite extreme. Most people can't handle more than about 5 to 10% savings rate. Saving this much is only possible if A, someone is paying all your bills and living expenses for you, or B, you live with extreme frugality and essentially reject consumerism and spending money. Adherents of FIRE cut virtually all non-essential spending and live a minimalist lifestyle, tracking all expenditures down to the penny and taking advantage of any free or low-cost service that society can offer. The savings target of FIRE adherents is based on an influential 1998 paper written by 3 professors at Trinity University called the Trinity Study, or more commonly referred to as just the 4% rule. It simply states that a person has sufficient assets saved if a 4% withdrawal rate can cover a year's worth of expenses. In practical terms, if your mortgage or rent, car payments, food, and all your expenses total up to $25,000 per year, or roughly $2,000 a month, you will need about $625,000 in liquid savings and investing in order to begin your early retirement. Another way to mathematically state that is that you need 25 times your annual living expenses in the bank. If you're curious how long it will take to actually save this up, it of course depends on your income, but with a typical white-collar worker's salary, it's just under 10 years of work and extreme frugality if you're putting away about 75% of your salary, with that time frame rising rapidly as your actual saving percentage drops. Now that's the essence of how FIRE works, but of course FIRE is not without its critics. There are a number of issues to confront here on the earnings, saving, and investing side of things. First off, to really attempt FIRE, it really helps to be a high earner. Since the price of housing and the cost of most consumables like food and clothing is relatively fixed, those working for a minimum wage or thereabouts are at a distinct disadvantage to be able to put away 3/4 of your salary. Most FIRE adherents admit that realistically you need to be a 6-figure earner, in other words making more than $100,000 per year, in order to give it a go. And if you look at the current and past career histories of FIRE adherents, you will find a large percentage of tech, IT, engineering, executive, medical, and other high-earning fields represented. Another issue with the FIRE approach is the retirement time frame. Most retirement calculators are predicated on a 20 to 25 year retirement, in other words from age 65 to age 85 or maybe 90. Not the 40 to 50 years that most FIRE adherents are shooting for, with retirements in their 30s and 40s. The 4% rule and other calculations need to be adjusted upwards to account for the longer periods of savings or investment accounts drawdown, the inherent variabilities of the stock market, and of course inflation. Critics have pointed out that realistically you need to enter your 40s with a several $million-dollar portfolio in order to ensure that it will last you until you're well into your 80s. Finally, there's the psychological toll of extreme frugality during the years where you have your best health and the least amount of commitment, and as a result many adherents found their bank accounts rising while their happiness levels sinking. Additionally, some FIRE plans get derailed by, for example, starting a family very early. Newsflash, kids are expensive. As well as divorce, unexpected death in the family, loss of employment, and other setbacks. The reality of many FIRE adherents, assuming they can commit to many years of frugality, actually ends up being a life of only semi-retirement with the need for occasional full-time work if their portfolio dips in a recession or they have major capital expenditures such as buying a car or a house. The fact remains that if you want to live in a modern world and not in a cabin in the woods, you will need to spend a certain amount of money, making saving 75% of your income for years on end quite challenging. Another important item to note is that the very premise of FIRE implies that you do not like your 9-to-5 job and will do whatever it takes to no longer work there. While this is sadly true for about 70% of the US workforce, according to some surveys anyway, this certainly isn't true for everyone. There are many people out there that have a genuine passion for their career and can't imagine being retired from it. The answer that FIRE proponents give is that you don't necessarily have to be retired from your career, but you can walk away if you'd like to for maybe even a short amount of time and your lifestyle will not suffer. And there's certainly some truth to that. In the end, being a FIRE adherent is a very personal choice and one that you need to evaluate very carefully, weighing the pros and cons. If you're in your 20s and you're earning a high salary, value freedom and independence from a day job, and can forgo material wealth for a decade or more while all your friends are buying houses, cars, and going on vacation, the FIRE financial plan, which, let's face it, is more of a lifestyle, may be for you. There are certainly quite a few success stories out there, and with enough dedication and smart planning, you could be one of them. If, however, you love your career and want a more sensible and moderate savings and investing plan, then FIRE may be too extreme and not the right path for you. But even if it isn't, many aspects of FIRE are worth learning about and emulating, as the savings rate of most Americans is quite dismal, and many people are not ready for a regular retirement, never mind an accelerated one. For me personally, after years of studying the movement, I prefer to take some of the great ideas in FIRE about frugality and saving money, but moderate it to the point where I am saving and investing, but also buying the material comforts that I need and want without going overboard or going into debt. Let me conclude that if you want to jump into the FIRE, so to speak, make sure that your closest family and support network is on board with what you're doing. And finally, don't forget to reach out for motivation, advice, or assistance anytime you need it. There are numerous blogs and websites all dedicated to FIRE, so be sure to Google them, read up on how others are doing it, and add your own story to help someone else. It is a community dedicated to their vision of how to become financially independent at an early age. And even if you don't jump in with both feet, there's a lot to learn there. Okay, those were the essentials of the FIRE movement. Let me know in the comments below how your FIRE journey is going, if that's what you're doing, and if it's not, why not? And as always, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.